So for Year 8, Stage 4 of Big Band Olympics, your first one is Fancy. You see on the first note there's a tar, there's a dot underneath it. That just means that you play the note short. Just means you play it staccato, short. So we're going to split the piece into 2 chunks, first 2 bars. The first chunk using 1, 0, 3. Now what you can do for this is use your index finger for the first note, open, middle finger for the 3rd fret on the A and the G string. We'll try that first chunk at first bar at 60 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gonna pause it there and move on to the next chunk. Feel free to pause the video at any point if you just want to have a noodle in your own time, or rewind it, watch the video more than once. That's what it's for. The second chunk is different from the first chunk, only in the first 3 notes. So instead of going ta, te, te, rest, rest, you're going ta, 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 rest. Make sure that you are using all the frets, make sure you rotate on your fingers as well. 60 beats per minute, second chunk, 2, 3, 4. Ta, 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 rest. 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 I'm going to pause it there, and in the next video we'll put chunks 1 and 2 together, which is essentially the whole thing. So now we're going to do Fancy at 60 beats per minute. We're just going to loop the 2 chunks, see what happens. 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause it there. The main thing with this part is being able to move fluently between the G and the E flat. Make sure that your E flat is ready to play by the time you're on your second G. Make sure you can have those ready to go. Fancy at 75 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. Fancy at 75 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. at 90 beats per minute even. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. So the next song in this musical fitness, Big Band Olympics is Push It by Salt and Pepper. We're going to split it up bar by bar again, because it's just the simplest way to do it. The rhythm karate, if you're feeling it for this one, would go like ta, te, te, she, te, she, te. 2, 3, 4. Ta, te, te, she, te, te, te. 2, 3, 4. Ta, te, te, she, te, te, te. 1, 2, 3. 1, te, te. Even. The main thing with this one is muting the open strings. You're only using the A and the E string and just one fret in the first chunk. 60 beats per minute, first chunk. 2, 3, 4. Ta, te, te, she, te, te. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta, she, te, she, te. Ugh, you know what I mean. Ta, te, te, she, te, she, te. That's the one. One more time. Ta, te, te, she, te, she, te. 1, 2, 3. Actually again. Ta, te, te, she, te, te. 1, 2. Ta, te, te, she, te, she, te. Pause it there. Because the first and third bar are the same, we're going to move on to the fourth bar at the end. That doesn't come in on the first beat, it actually comes in halfway through the first beat on the te. So again, the rhythm karate for that would be 1, 2, she, te, 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 te. So, she, te, 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 she, te, 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 she, te, 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 she. 60 beats per minute, fourth bar. Let's do this. She, te, 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 te. Rest. 2, 3, 4. She, te, 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 she. Rest. 2. She, te, 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 te. And again. She, te, 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 te. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. Now we're going to do the whole of, Push It? Yeah, Push It. Bars 1 and 3 are the same. You don't play anything in bar 2, you got a bar's rest. But then bar 4, you've got chunk 2 coming in. 60 beats per minute, I'll just loop it. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, bar 3. Rest. 2, 3, 4. Push it 75 BPM. 2, 3, 4. Rest. 2, 3, 4. Push it at 90 BPM. Give it a go. 2, 3, 4. Okay, last but not least, we go on to shape of you. I'm going to split this up into 3 chunks in kind of 3 chords each. Chunk 1 is going to be, chunk 2 will be, chunk 3 will be. So the chunk order is 1, 2, 2, 3. Now, you guys will be a bit better at this because you've got, frankly, smaller fingers than me. Because I quite struggle with getting the chords close together. With your fingers, if you're using a pick, you're going to have to kind of just be able to mute that middle string in the chord. Good luck. If you're using your fingers, which I recommend, you can use your thumb and your index or middle. That's how I do it, but if you just want to use 2 of your fingers and kind of pinch the strings, you can. You can do that too, that works. But the trick with this one will be kind of moving your fingers around. What you can do for the first chunk is have your middle finger on the 2nd fret, your ring finger, 4th finger if you're looking at it this way, 4th finger on the 3rd fret, index on the 1st fret. For that first chunk. Let's just practice the first 2 beats, the first chunk of Shape of You. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. Okay. What you can also use is your right hand there to mute the string after you've played it. My left hand isn't moving because all the frets are where they need to be. And it's just up to my right hand to hit it in the right place. Last time. Great. So now we move on to chunk 2, where your hand moves from this position up to this one. So you've got fret, 3rd fret, 1st fret. If you've got smaller fingers than me, you can probably get away with, oh, that works as well, having one finger covering those frets as well, but if they don't worry. What you can do for this one as well is slide up your 2nd fret there on your G string over to the 3rd, if you want to, and that might work as well. This second chunk, I'm going to include the A and D beforehand, so that way we can practice the change into chunk 2. Feel free to pause and just get your fingers around it whenever, but I'm going to go into chunk 2 now. 60 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. Now I'm struggling to. Okay, that happened. I'm struggling to get this string ringing out, so I'm taking my 4th finger off the frets to make sure this string has enough space to ring out. Because otherwise my fingers are quite chunky. And if I'm not careful, that can sound quite muted. Whereas if I take this off, a lot nicer. The 3rd chunk is at the end of the 2nd bar, just going, since we play the 2nd chunk twice. This should be a bit easier. It's the same rhythm as the other sections, but it's got more open strings. So I'm going to go from the B flat and D just before it as well. 60 beats per minute, chunk 3, 2, 3, and 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. Gonna pause it there. Yeah, the trick, this is going to be a difficult one if you're playing with a pick, because you've got to mute this B string in the middle of the G and the E. Now we're going to be playing Shape of You, all 4 bars, which is just the chunks 1, 2, 2, 3, twice. 60 beats per minute. Let's do this. 2, 3, 4. exciting. Now at 75 beats per minute, shape of you. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just a case of making sure all of your strings ring out. Last but not least, 90 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4.